morning, Jackson. Wanted to take a moment here and review the lesson we had the other day. As you can see, we're going to get started initially right where we first started off, and we're going to talk about your stance here, sir. When we talk about things and when we try to look at things here, we try to go over just the simplest things that we talked about and what we did. Now, when we look at your initial stance, you can see that originally, as you set up to the golf ball, and when you approach the golf ball, you set the club down next to the golf ball, and then you are standing there getting ready to hold the club and swing the club. That's first called your stance. Now, what we did, like we said, we worked with your knees, we worked with your back, we worked with your feet, we worked with your ball position. Essentially, everything trying to get a little bit better position time after time when you swing the golf club. Now, that being said, what we look at here, we can see a difference between where you are on the left-hand side and where you are on the right-hand side. Now, you can see as you set up to it, one of the things we notice is that your back is really straight up and down. And even when we look at, when we go from your tailbone to the back of your head, we can see that you still have a little bit of a hunch right here in your back there. You can see that the legs are standing almost straight up and down with your tailbone or your rear end back over your heel. What I did for you here on the right-hand side is scooch you back just a little bit. Now, what we wanted to see and what I showed you was, we're going to show Adam Scott here. Now, we worked with Adam Scott in the lesson and kind of showed you. Now, Adam's going to play left-handed today, and he's actually leading the golf tournament on TV if you want to watch him later on. But what you'll see here, Adam, we go from his tailbone to his head. Big difference between what we see on the left-hand side and compared to what we see here. Second, when we look at his legs, here to here. Big difference there as well. So when we go back to you, first thing we've seen is trying to get you off. You're playing right-handed, so we got to move you back around the left-handed. So when we see this, the first thing we see is what I call more of an athletic stance. Trying to get the flex in the knees, get the weight on the balls of your feet, and that's what we talked about there. When we look here, we talked about the weight on balls of feet. By looking at that, that's where it tries to get a little more angle in your back. Ideally here, what we looked here was we did say that your arms were a little extended out, so we scooted you just a little bit closer to where the arms would be just a little more underneath your shoulders than out and away from you. Okay, so moving on, when we look here, what we're going to see is initially the initial position of your stance and your ball position. That's more or less the initial position of my feet there, but hold on one second here. There we go. A little bit better ball position. So what we talked about here by ball position being 12 inches apart, roughly between your two toes. So we want the club to be right in the middle of your stance. So that's not a good picture there, but right here, let's do it again. So we want it to be right in the middle of your stance. So by it being in the middle of your stance, that's going to be your 7-iron and your 9-iron. By being your 7 and 9-iron, that's the club that you currently have, and even your wedge if you have a wedge. Now, by saying that, that's going to allow you to have a little better control as you swing back and as you swing forward of keeping control of what we talked about with your head here. Now, what we talked about going back to your head, we can watch as you swing back here, you swing to the top, you lift up, and then as you come down into it, there's that kind of a lunge down into it, bringing the club down, head goes forward. Now, we make contact with the ball, but we didn't make as good a contact as we possibly could see. So initially, what I tried doing and what we did here by going over the stance so far in the ball position, we try to keep things a little more centered. Now, by keeping things a little more centered, I introduced what I call the waist tie drill. Now, by doing the waist tie drill, we had a tee back here, we had a tee up here in front. Hold on 1 second here. We had a tee back here, a tee back in front, and we had a tee in the center. Now, what we want to do is as you push back here, I want you to push back And you can kind of see yourself bent. There's that first tee right there. I'm going to erase the arrows there, but you can see the first tee right there on the ground. Take the first tee, and all I want you to do is rotate that arrow on the face of the golf club, which is ideally the toe of the club head. I just want you to rotate it up to waist high. You know, essentially it's a little higher than waist high, and that's fine. But that's essentially what I want you to do. And from there, all I want you to do is turn back. Now see, you took it just a little further, which is fine. You know, you're learning your position. Then as we turn through, waist high on the right-hand side. So, but as we look here, one of the things I'll point out to you is as you do this waist high, let's take you all the way back down to the beginning. Right here. Let's try to circle back around your head here. Alright, so as you turn back, we're back here. As the head comes down, if I can keep the camera still, we're down through. You notice how that head stayed on one level and you turned around your body. Here, like we said before, it was up. We turned up, and then as we turn back down and through, you can see how there's a lot of movement down and through. Big difference between those two positions here, Jackson, and I think you did such a great job. So, waist high drill, one set of 20 repetitions is all I want. Nice and slow with no ball, but hitting all three positions as you take it back, and then you take it through. Next, with a wiffle ball, I want you to do the same thing, roughly the same thing, but as we set it down here, we can see here, you see the tee, there's the tee right there, there's a tee there, and obviously the tee, the ball is on a tee as well. Now as you turn back, I want you to hit the first tee going back, bam, and we can already see here at waist high, look at the differences between, just because I had you thinking about that rotation, remember I said as you go back, the toe will point to the sky and you will rotate the club up. What we can see a difference, one is one here in your hands, and two, I said that left arm will start to bend or start to bow in position as you go up. Look at the difference between here and here. Night and day difference, sir. Already forming an angle on the golf club as we look here. You can see here, it's almost a straight line. And when I say that, what I mean here is obviously we have to create levers and we have to create positions or angles in the golf club. But you can see a clear difference between those two positions. But there again, look at the difference in the amount the shoulders have turned. All these big difference on just simply doing a small waist high drill and trying to hit the ball. And I told you, we're not going fast. We're not doing it super fast as you do this. I said, just like learning math or learning your subjects in school, it's back and forth, nice and slow. All right, so here, you come down, hands come down, we turn through, great position on the head, great position on the turn. So I wanted 20 repetitions with the ball. So to review, what we talked about was your stance, we talked about the width of your stance, we talked about your ball position, and then for the biggest part, we talked about your rotation and taking the club up, hitting its two positions, and it's swinging down and through without moving that head. So if you have any questions, by all means, Mom, Stepdad, Dad, Jackson, anyone, don't hesitate to let me know. All right, we'll talk to you later. I hope everything went well. Any questions, give me a call again.
Hello, I'm Michael Wyatt. Today we wanted to talk about the waist high drill. Now initially the waist high drill is going to help us on our occasions that we discussed today about how as we take the golf club back and we're probably coming back a little too much to the inside. Now what the idea behind this drill today is initially doing it very slow, just like we're working out. You know, we're not going to do it fast, we're not going to do it, we're doing all kinds of push-ups back and forth really fast, but the whole point of this is the muscle memory. Trying to learn that as we take the club back, we're almost handing the club back to us. So essentially what it initially looks like is as we take the ball back, we're going to set up to it like we normally do, we're going to initially push back with our left hand. And as we push back with our left hand, we're going to almost take the club right back on the same line. And then as the club comes up, we're going to feel the toe of the club go up to the top of the sky. Now as we come back down, we're going to feel the left hand pull back down. We're going to feel just initially the body's going to naturally turn through, but as the club comes down the line, it's going to extend out towards the target and just almost extend out to the exact same point that it was on the right-hand side. And I'll show you to the face on here a little bit what it looks like as well. It is basically the same thing, but you'll see it on the side view now. Now as we do this, it's very simple. We're going to push back, like we said, with the left hand as we push the ball back, nice and slow as we come up. And it should look like, if you look right down the line and followed your head down the line, you should see almost that club extending right straight down the line, toe being up. Now as we come back through, we're going to pull back down with the left hand, down through impact, extend down the line to our target. Now what I'd like for you to do is do 2 sets of 20 reps with these, seeing the initial nice and slow, taking a break each time. You don't have to do them, like I said, nice and fast, but as we do it nice and slow each time, we do 2 sets of 20, just like we're playing 18 holes of golf. We've got our front 9 for the first set, and the second set's going to be our back 9. If you have any questions, like I said, feel free to give me a call at the store. Thank you.